He smiles, he waves. He wears the flag like armor. He's the face of justice, the symbol of strength, the American dream with laser eyes. But it's all a lie, because behind the blue suit and golden cape is a monster. Not in secret, not in the shadows, but in plain sight. Homelander isn't a hero. He's a weapon. He's a child raised in a lab, taught to pose, not to feel, to dominate, not to care. He doesn't save people. He performs saving, and we cheer, because he makes us feel safe, while he gets more dangerous, more unstable, more godlike. He doesn't want to be loved. He needs to be worshipped. Every smile is calculated, every word rehearsed, every death behind the scenes justified. He doesn't bleed. He doesn't apologize. He only obeys one rule. Power wins. And he has it all. Strength. Flight. Vision that cuts through steel and people. But the real weapon? His image. Because no one questions the flag. No one challenges the hero. Until it's too late. This isn't the story of a savior. It's the story of a sociopath. Raised to be perfect. Designed to be unstoppable. And destined to destroy anything that doesn't adore him. He walks among gods, but believes none are worthy. He looks down on us. Not with pity, but with disgust. Because to him, we're insects, ants pretending to matter. And if he smiles while saving a child, it's because the camera's rolling, not because he cares. There's no compassion behind those eyes. Only calculation. Only ego. Only control. And when he speaks about freedom, he means his, not yours. Homelander isn't what we fear a villain to be. He's what we trust a hero to be. And that's what makes him terrifying, because he's not hiding. He's celebrated, rewarded, worshipped by a world that forgot how to question power. So while he parades as the leader of the Seven, he watches, he waits, and he knows that the world is his to burn. If he ever decides to stop pretending, Homelander was never a child. Not really. He was an experiment. An asset, born in a lab, raised without a mother, without a father, without love. Only scientists, only supervision, only sterile lights and clipboards. He wasn't rocked to sleep. He was tested. Measured, conditioned. Every laugh was documented. Every tear was data. Vought didn't want a boy. They wanted a product. And what they made was flawless, super strength, flight, invulnerability, laser vision. But there was one flaw they didn't fix: his heart. Because without nurture, there's no empathy. And without empathy, there's only power. Raw, uncontrolled, terrifying. They fed him propaganda. Told him he was chosen. That he was better, that the world needed him, that weakness was failure, that love was distraction. So he grew up inside a bubble of lies. No friends, no family, only cameras, only control. They shaped his smile, perfected his posture, trained him like an actor, not a hero. He learned to fake kindness, to mimic humanity, to perform emotions he never felt. And the more he was praised, the less he questioned, because praise became oxygen. And when he finally stepped into the world, he wasn't ready. He was already broken, already dangerous. But no one saw it, because the mask was perfect. The public saw a savior. The scientists saw a success. But behind closed doors, he was unstable. Confused. Angry. He didn't understand limits, didn't understand love. Only control, only performance. When he smiled, it was because he was told to. When he saved someone, it was because it looked good. And every time someone clapped, it fed the hunger, the addiction to validation. He didn't become a narcissist. He was engineered to be one. And when questions rose about morality, about right and wrong, Vought silenced them, because they couldn't afford weakness in their perfect creation. So they gave him enemies, staged threats, faked applause, built a world where he was always the center, always the solution, always the god. And gods don't learn empathy. They demand worship. By the time the public truly met Homelander, it was already too late. The monster was smiling, the cape was waving, and the world had already said thank you. Homelander wasn't discovered. He was launched. A marketing campaign with muscles, an icon designed by boardrooms, wrapped in red, white, and blue. He didn't earn his place. It was written into scripts, shot in slow motion, backed by swelling music and military jets. The media called him the future. The nation called him a hero. But he wasn't protecting people. He was protecting Vought. Every mission was staged, every rescue rehearsed. He saved planes when it looked good. He posed with babies when the cameras rolled. And the public, they loved it, because he made them feel safe. Even if the safety was a lie, even if the smile was a mask, behind that cape was a man who never learned limits, who never heard no, who never faced consequence, and that made him dangerous, because power without resistance becomes tyranny. He didn't fight crime, he fought narratives. He didn't serve justice, he served branding. His speeches were written by PR teams, his image controlled by executives, and behind every handshake, there was a contract. Behind every tear, a script. But the world didn't care, because Homelander made them feel patriotic, even as he killed, even as he lied, because the truth isn't marketable. But Homelander sells. He became the centerpiece of the Seven, the unstoppable alpha, untouchable, unquestioned. The other supes feared him, not just because of his power, but because they saw the cracks, the instability, the way his smile twitched when no one clapped, the way his voice changed when he wasn't praised. He didn't lead the Seven, he ruled them, with fear, with violence, with that look, the one that said, I could kill you, and no one would stop me, because no one could, and he knew it. He started bending orders, changing missions, killing by accident or by design, and the company covered it up. Always, because Homelander was too valuable, too powerful to stop, too scary to lose, and too proud to question. They built him, now they served him, and he smiled, because the world kept applauding, even as it started to burn. The cracks came slowly, then all at once. A plane crash he could have stopped, but didn't. A civilian killed by accident, or maybe not. A stare that lasted too long, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. People started noticing, not the fans, not the blind loyalists, but the few who looked closer, who saw the monster behind the mask. And Homelander, he noticed them too, and he didn't like being seen, because beneath the god complex was fear. Fear of losing control, fear of not being loved, fear of being exposed. He started talking more about strength, about loyalty, about patriotism, but they weren't speeches, they were warnings: obey or be destroyed, worship or vanish. And behind closed doors, he was unraveling. He lashed out at allies, threatened subordinates, stared into mirrors trying to understand what he was. Not a man, not a god, something in between, something broken. He searched for love in impossible places. He wanted a family, a connection, but every time he got close, he crushed it, because love requires vulnerability, and Homelander only knew control. So he smiled harder, flexed more, demanded loyalty like it was oxygen, because he knew, without the worship, there was nothing left. He tried to be a father, he failed. Tried to be a leader, he failed, because his power only knew force, not guidance, not compassion. And when the applause started fading, he panicked. He made threats, broadcasted fear, held the world hostage with a grin, because Homelander doesn't lead through love, he rules through terror. He sees every critic as a traitor, every doubt as a betrayal, and every truth as a threat. The more he was questioned, the more unstable he became. He floated above crowds, eyes glowing red, not to inspire, but to warn. He told them they needed him, that without him, chaos would reign, that he was the only thing standing between them and destruction. And part of him believed it, because he was raised to believe it. He didn't learn humility, he learned superiority. He didn't learn love, he learned domination. And in that broken blueprint, there was no space for empathy, no space for growth, only mirrors, only control, only the sound of his own voice, echoing louder than the screams around him. Homelander's fall wasn't sudden, it was inevitable. He stopped pretending, stopped hiding. The smile stayed, but the humanity, it was gone. He killed in public, smiled while doing it, and the people, some gasped, some screamed, but many cheered, because fear works, because power attracts even when it's corrupted, especially when it's corrupted. He wasn't ashamed, he was free. No more PR teams, no more staged missions, only rage, only control, only the thrill of being feared openly. And Vought, they couldn't stop him, because they created him, and now they served him. The god they built no longer needed them, and the world, it watched, terrified, fascinated, because part of it still wanted to believe, still wanted to be saved, even if it meant kneeling, even if it meant surrendering to a monster. Because Homelander didn't fall, he rose, as what he always was, the villain hiding in plain sight. He embraced the truth, that he was never a hero, never a protector, just a weapon, pointed at the world. And now, without a leash, he writes the rules. No more secrets, no more scripts, just pure, raw power, unfiltered, unchecked. He doesn't care about collateral, about reputation, about optics. He cares about submission, about being worshipped without question. And when someone dares stand up, he crushes them, not out of necessity, but to send a message. I'm not your savior, I'm your God. And gods don't explain, they destroy. He stares into cameras now not for adoration, but to watch the world squirm, to feel the fear in their silence, to remind everyone that he could end it all in a second. And the only thing stopping him is his own amusement. That's not a hero. That's not even a villain. That's a catastrophe in human form. A ticking bomb wrapped in stars and stripes. And it's already too late to stop him, because he no longer needs the world. The world needs him, and he knows it. Homelander is not a warning. He's a mirror. He shows us what happens when power answers to no one, when image becomes truth, when we choose comfort over reality. He looks like a hero, acts like a god, but inside, he's empty, a shell filled with violence. And when the applause fades, all that's left is the scream. He's not terrifying because he's strong. He's terrifying because he thinks he's right. And in his mind, there are no limits, only targets. So the next time you see a cape, ask yourself, what's behind the smile? Because sometimes, the villain doesn't hide in the shadows. He stands in the light, basking in it, feeding from it. And we clap as the world burns. If this deep dive into Homelander's twisted mind gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Do you think he can ever be stopped? Or is he already unstoppable? Because the most dangerous monsters are the ones we cheer for. He's the product of a world obsessed with control, a society that traded truth for spectacle. And in that trade, we created a god, one that doesn't protect, one that doesn't forgive, just one that watches, waits, and judges, not with morality, but with lasers. Because Homelander doesn't believe in justice, he believes in himself. And that's the real horror, not the power, but the belief that no one else matters, that he's the only one who does. So when the sky cracks open, and you see him hovering smiling, just know it was never about saving us. It was always about owning us.